the Raiders have, for the past couple of seasons, ever since Mike Mayock and John Gruden took over, zigged when we think they are going to zag. I think that they did the same thing this year. But when you look at the totality of their draft, it doesn't look as bad as it might if you look at the picks individually.
I just disagree. I don't know what the plan is here. I mean, they drafted a bunch of safeties after taking Abrams in the first round a couple of years ago. They take Malcolm Koontz in the third round after signing 𝗬𝗢𝗡𝗓𝗓 in free agency, and they got a good pass rusher, Max Crosby, on the roster already. I just don't understand, what they're trying to do. With the play, it's not so much the players that they selected. It's, what are the fits and, how many safeties you're going to put on the field and how many of these safeties you're going to turn to linebackers and are they going to play linebacker? There was just no rhyme or reason to this draft.
Starts off kind of at the top. Obviously, they had a needed offensive tackle because they got rid of all of their offensive linemen. But Alex Leatherwood, was that a surprise for you?
I think it was a surprise to everybody. There's no doubt about it. Once, just like the Damon Arnett choice was a surprise, just like the 𝗙𝗢𝗢𝗧𝗨𝗕𝗘 choice was a surprise. I like Alex Leatherwood. I had him graded as a late first-round pick for the longest time, and I moved him to the second round. I just don't know that he's going to be a right tackle as people project. I think he's a fleet-footed left tackle prospect. I don't think he played better in 2020 than he did in 2019. That's something I always look for in just about all players, but especially players at the cornerback position, players at the quarterback position, and players at the offensive tackle position. Just like the 𝗙𝗢𝗢𝗓𝗏 and the Damon Arnett selections, a lot of risk with this choice. And, I reported the draft day that, I expect to see big changes in the front office, the scouting department with the Raiders. I still stand by that. And we saw, I believe it was a week ago. There was contradicting stories where someone in the Raiders organization, I believe it was Mike Mayock, who I like a lot personally. So this is kind of tough for me to criticize him. But Mike Mayock had said, well, the Baltimore Ravens had a first-round pick on Alex Leatherwood to justify the selections, and then someone from the Raiders organization said that's a bunch of baloney. We had a third-round grade on Alex Leatherwood. So the back and forth will continue on. We'll have to wait and see how it turns out for Leatherwood on the field. I'm sure the Raiders are hoping it turns out better than it has for Damon Arnett or 𝗙𝗢𝗢𝗓𝗏.
Yeah, and then, they got what I thought was good value with Travon Morig, but then, the news comes out that there was a little bit of a back issue with him. And guys, back issues are terrifying in football players.
Yeah, and I don't know that Morig is a true free safety. I think he's more of a zone safety if you're going to use him like that, or better as a strong safety. I just don't know that he's got the great range in center field to be a true free safety in the NFL. He's good against the run. He's good against the pass. He's got a solid game. But as you said, he also comes with a back issue.
Yeah, and it's just a weird fit overall, like you said, because he's not that traditional single high free safety type, and they're going to run a ton of cover three. So it's an interesting fit. It comes from a completely different system than that TCU defense. So it has their safeties playing a completely different role. Like you said, Malcolm Koontz was one that didn't really make a lot of sense to you, but how do you feel about the player overall?
I had him more as a day 3 pick. He's an intense guy, was never able to work out fully for scouts at pro day. Good pass rusher, very good up the field, not the most athletic. I would have liked him more in the 4th round as a situational pass rusher. As a 3rd round guy, after you signed 𝗬𝗢𝗓𝗏𝗓𝗏 in free agency and you got Max Crosby there, and I think Max Crosby is going to do a terrific job in the Gus Bradley system. And, you're running basically more of a 4-man line where I think Koontz is better standing over tackle. I just don't see it as a good fit.
Yeah, and then the run on safety starts, and it starts with Divine Diablo, the Virginia Tech safety, who, do you know if he's going to play safety or linebacker for the Raiders?
Yeah, many of the depth charts that I've seen have him lined up as a weak side linebacker, which I could understand because he's more of your strong safety type if you're going to use him in the secondary. And they got Jonathan Abram, the former first-round pick that's never really lived up to expectations. Diablo is very athletic. He's very explosive. His biggest problem was he was unable to make plays in reverse at Virginia Tech. When the action's in front of him, he's real good. He's quick out to the sidelines. He plays to his athletic numbers, and he tested really well at pro day. He's a good player. I just don't know that he's got a true position. I think his true position is strong safety. They're going to use him at linebacker. That's a major project for a guy you're taking in the 3rd round.
Yeah, and then they go and they take another safety in Missouri's Tyree Gillespie.
I mean, Gillespie's the guy who would be your true free safety. He's the guy who's incredibly athletic. He's the guy that gets from sideline to sideline with speed. He's got solid ball skills, a little bit smaller, needs a lot of polish on his game. I thought he went where he deserved to go in the 4th round. He's got a great amount of upside, but, how much of the field is he going to get to see with so many safeties on the Raiders roster?
Yeah, totally agree with you there. Somebody who, I liked his reps against Kyle Pitts, and he definitely said hello to Najee Harris at the goal line when they were playing against Alabama. They went with Nate Hobbs in the 5th round, the cornerback from Illinois.
Tough physical guy, not the biggest guy in the world, but someone I think that could be a potential dime back at the next level special teams player. I had him more as a 6th, 7th rounder if he was going to get drafted. 5th round was a little bit rich for my blood, but he went late in round 5. Still, cornerbacks are always a priority on draft day. So, I think it was a solid choice.
Yeah, and then they finished their draft off by going with center Jimmy Morrissey from Pittsburgh.
They basically traded Rodney Hudson for Jimmy Morrissey. I mean, that's I like that's not fair to Jimmy Morrissey. I like Jimmy Morrissey. He's an undersized zone blocking center who's not real big, not real strong at the point, but you get him in motion, you give him a running start, he'll do a good job for you.
Did any of their undrafted free agents really call to you?
Yeah, they signed Darius Stills, the 3-technique tackle from West Virginia, who I think is good in that sort of system. Trey Ragas, the running back from Louisiana, who was a bit underrated. I thought that was good value. I think Matt Bushman is a guy to keep an eye on. Matt Bushman of BYU, someone who, as a sophomore, looked like he was going to be a star or a top-rated prospect, has had a lot of injury issues, not the fastest guy in the world, but a real good pass catcher.
Tony, once again, thank you so much. This was the Raiders draft reaction from the 2021 NFL Draft.